Well, hello there, champion, and welcome to the Elesh Norn Deck Tech 2! Put all other Elesh Norn Deck Techs to shame. That's right, everybody. Elesh Norn won the contest. She is the commander I will be doing for the next 15 games, and by doing, I mean using as my commander. I don't want anyone to get any crazy ideas. I mean, she's not exactly a looker. But all you Vela the Nightclad fans, don't worry. It was very, very close. The closest the voting has ever been, and she'll definitely be back next vote off. And you'll have an opportunity to vote for her again and perhaps make her my chosen commander for the next round. But for this round of games, we are on Elesh Norn. Let's talk about some cards, huh? That sounds good to me. The idea of Elesh Norn is to play a bunch of little dudes, and that they'll all work together, and a bunch of removal and artifact shit. Well, you know, artifact mana shit, that is, I should specify. And then when Elesh is ready to come down, hopefully by turn like 6, then all my little dudes are big dudes, all my opponents big dudes, they're smaller dudes, and then we're running for the victory. That's the plan. But this deck can certainly win without Elesh ever coming down. It's just slightly harder. Okay, so talking about cards, nothing really too fancy over here. On my mana side, a couple notable things. Nykthos Shrine of Nyx will be incredible in this deck because it's monocolor. Myriad Sky Rune is an auto-include in monocolored white for obvious reasons. Get all my creatures back that died. Kildarren Outpost I have never actually used before. But I think it's pretty solid. Make a bunch of little dudes to make bigger. Yeah, okay. Sounds pretty good to me. And then finally, Core Haven. It's kind of like a bad Maze of Ith, but I can also tap it for mana if I need to. So it can help me out if there's trouble coming my way and Maze of Ith isn't on hand. And you know, the only deck I could really use it in is a white deck. So I thought, why not? This is my pile of mana accelerants. I should note that I made a solemn decree when using this deck that I will not use any artifacts and enchantments that are not mana related. So you might see a lot of cards missing from this selection over here. That would make the deck better, and I just can't use them. No equipment, no enchantment auras, nothing like that. And those are great in little dude decks. Make your little dudes awesome and have all kinds of abilities, but I can't do it. I made the rules, I'm sticking to the rules. So if people are suggesting cards and whatnot, no, that's why they are not included. But I do have a nice selection of artifacts and enchantments that are mana related. Mana Crypt, Soul Ring, Tithe is not an artifact enchantment, but you get it. It helps mana fix me. Land Tax, Journeyer's Kite, Pristine Talisman. I'm a little unsure about this one, but I thought maybe the life gain could be relevant against certain decks. So I decided to go for it. But again, I'm not too sure about it. Thran Dynamo is perfect card to get Elesh Norn out on the absolute next turn, perhaps. Because she only costs 7, and you need 4 to get the Thran Dynamo out, and then there's 4 plus 3. And we got the Gauntlet of Power, the Gilded Lotus, Cage Sun, all stuff you would probably think to see in a deck like this. I also have a few creatures that help fix my mana, but we'll get to those later. Tons and tons and tons of removal. Single target, Path to Exile, Swords to Plowshares, my favorite, Condemn. Oh, condemning a commander is disgusting and wonderful. Devouring Light, and then we got the Martial Coup, which is perfect in this deck because it accomplishes the whole board wipe situation while getting me a bunch of little guys to have Elesh Norn get good on perhaps the next turn. Hollow Burial, another great one to get rid of the commander. Phyrexian Rebirth, shit out an abomination. Planar Cleansing. It's important to me that I have a way of combating all of the artifacts and enchantments that my opponent play. This is Commander, and most decks aren't like mine. Most decks play a slew, a veritable slew of artifacts and enchantments, and it's great to have multiple ways of getting rid of them. Planar Cleansing is a way to get rid of all of them. Austere Command is a way of getting rid of all of them if I want, or perhaps giant creatures instead. Hey, guess what? Akroma's Vengeance is also a way of getting rid of all of them, and it also cycles if it looks like it's not something I'll need. And Wrath of God just because it's the solid original. Then I've got a couple more ways of getting rid of artifact and enchantment. Return to Dust and Dust to Dust. I wish Dust to Dust also affected enchantments as well, but there are so many artifacts, I feel like this is almost never going to be a dead card. Alright, now we've got our super small creatures. And I should say, by the way, there was one more rule. Well, two more rules, actually. I'm not allowed to have a creature with more than 4 power. I just can't do it. That's it. Only 4 and under is one of the rules. And the other rule is that I can't have any spells to back up those creatures that are beyond 6 converted mana cost. So I have plenty that are 6. Or I guess White Sun Zenith counts. It's kind of a cheat because this could be way more than 6 if I wanted it to be. But we'll pretend it counts just fine. But anyway, we got the Weathered Wayfarer. Another way of getting manas. And Serra Ascendant, which is disgusting. It should be banned. It's not fair. But I don't really have a whole lot of opportunities to play this card. It doesn't usually fit my decks, but it certainly fits this deck. So here, I guess she is. It's hard to tell with monks. Mother of Runes, fantastic creature for sneaking dudes in if I want them to, give them protection, or, you know, protecting from removal. Machias the Lunarch, very synergistic with all my other creatures for obvious reasons. Pump it up! Oh, yes, pump it up. Hey, just like Mother of Runes, 8.5 tail. 8.5 tails gives fellows protection. A little bit clunkier than Mother of Runes, but I could also, if I have the mana, do it on more than one creature turn. Grand Abolisher is my hoser for why can't I think? Control decks. Control. A word I've used many times. Why I forgot it, I guess I'm just stupid. But my hoser for control decks. And black decks that have a lot of instant removal. Knight of the White Orchid. I feel like this card's going to be fantastic. Get me an extra planes, and First Strike is handy. Core Sanctifiers, another way to destroy an artifact or enchantment. Really, that's the only reason he's played. Otherwise, he's pretty much just vanilla, he and she. Sorry, you're twins. Let's make this a little bigger, why don't we? You're twins. Stonecloaker, a way to save a creature, and plus I do have a bunch of dudes that have come into play effect, so that's also relevant. Mentor of the Meek ought to draw me a buttload of cards since I have got a lot of 2 or less power creatures. Intrepid Hero is a get-out-of-jail-free card against decks with giant creatures. This is going to be a dead card sometimes, it really is, but I feel like the times it isn't going to be a dead card, it'll just be a blowout, and so therefore well worth the inclusion. Frontline Medic makes giant attacks safe. Mirror Entity makes giant attacks even gianter, especially if Elesh Norn is Hollowed Burial or Condemned or something, just Fate Sealed, whatever. If Elesh Norn is gone, Mirror Entity is a very solid win condition when you have as many dudes as I do. Silverblade Paladin, another great card. Once Elesh is down, double the damage of something big makes an even bigger splash. Solitary Visionary, I've never used this card before, but I'm excited to use it. It seems fantastic. Yeah, destroy an enchantment every time it hits, and it's going to hit. It has Shadow. Mangara of Corondor to get rid of that target permanent that I just can't get rid of otherwise and annoys me to no end. Planeswalker, whatever, Mangara will take care of it. Slightly bigger creatures, we've got the Windborn Muse. Utility creature makes my opponent's token decks or other little dude decks a lot worse when they're trying to attack me. Michiko Kanda. Yeah, I've also never used Michiko except the exception is, I think, in draft once, back when Kamigawa was a thing. Because I didn't buy this card, I had it, so I must have used it in draft. Yeah, it seems pretty sweet, right? Opponent has to sacrifice something if they damage you. It's gonna make attacks pretty lame for them. Valor, give everybody first strike when it's in the graveyard. Happily trade with it. I was thinking about this or the one that just came out in Journey into Nyx, I believe, that just gives everything first strike when it's out. But I feel like it's more likely that the creature will die than survive. So I feel like the graveyard ability is probably slightly better. Also, is it cheaper? I think it might be cheaper too. Restoration Angel, much like Stonecloaker, rescue somebody, and some of my dudes have come into play effects. Not everybody, but some of them do. Audric, Master Tactician, another one I'm excited to use. I really like the art on this. He looks like a Disney villain or something like that. You'll never rescue the princess. I think since I have so many fellows, being able to dictate how those fellows attack and how my opponents block is very important. 100-handed one, simply because I've never used it before, and I wanted to use at least one of the newer cards. This seems to fit my deck. It's technically fits my standards. Monstrosity would make it not fit my standards, but since it comes into play as a 3/5, it fits my rule set, and being able to block everything just seems like a really good turn when you need to survive one turn. Myriad Angel, shit out a bunch of 1/1s every turn in theory, sometimes more than once per turn. Get an army of birds. Yeah, what's not to love? Locks on Gatekeeper. Oh, you have haste creatures, you say? Oh, too bad. Locks on Gatekeeper. Linvala, Keeper of Silence. I did not own Linvala, Keeper of Silence. I purchased it for this deck, and it was the most expensive card I purchased for this deck, but I have always wanted to play Linvala, Keeper of Silence. It'll hose a lot of decks. That seems to be the word of the day, hosing, but it's true. Look at this. Sleek lady over here, shitting out birds or feathers or something. What's coming out of your ass, Linvala? Oh, no, you can't fool me. I know those are not coming out of your wings. Those are coming right out of your asshole. But don't worry, you've silenced me. I cannot activate the ability of tattling. Hero of Bladehold, making lots of fellows with your battle cry too. Yeah, so battle cry is awesome, making everybody a little bigger that's attacking. Sublime Archangel, I'm going to have a ton of guys in theory. So giving them all exalted and then running in with, say, I don't know, someone with evasion, Solitary Visionary is great. It's just great. Even someone with flying like Angel of Jubilation. What's that, Angel of Jubilation? You made all my creatures slightly bigger, and also it hoses certain decks that want to make me sacrifice things? Well, thank you. Some Lacrum, auto-include, let's get a land, and possibly a card. Revelark, it works out, because I've got tons of little guys. So if they die, bring them back with Revelark. Archon of Justice, when this dies, I get to get rid of anything. That's also pretty much an auto-include. In a mono-white deck, I believe, World Queller, another one I'm unsure about. I think it could be good in certain situations. For sure. At the very least, it's a good way to get rid of your opponent's Planeswalker that can't deal with it. Sunblast Angel, another board wipe, and it is a situational board wipe that you can play around and save all your guys. I'm really glad it's a 4/5 and not a 5/5, so I can use it. Krovax, Ascended Hero, much like the Angel of Jubilation, giving all my guys a slight increase and giving all my foes a slight decrease. You know what? This is like the poor man's Elesh. That's what this is, the poor man's Elesh. But he protects himself. That's cool. I gotta remember that. I feel like I'm gonna forget Pay 2 Life, Return Krovax, Ascended Hero to its owner's hand, probably on more than one occasion. Let's see if that's true. Darian, King of Kaldor. Just because he's fun. He's not super synergistic with the rest of my guys. I didn't build a deck around Darian or anything like that. But on the rare situations he works, he's gonna be pretty sweet. When you're dealt damage, put that many white soldier creature tokens onto the battlefield. Follow that up, follow getting hit for 6 or something up with Elesh Norn, and you probably win. White Sun Zenith, make a lot of tokens. Increasing Devotion, make a lot of tokens. Pretty simple, but necessary. Then I got the 4 Planeswalkers. 1 of Johnny, 1 Gideon, 2 Elspeths. All of them super good in this deck. I feel like you guys know all about these Planeswalkers. I won't get into too much detail, but needless to say, Elspeth, Sun's Champion coming down is a pretty big blowout. That -3 alone is going to be super relevant. Okay, so that's the deck. I don't have any time to, or rather, I should say I didn't have any time to test this deck because I had jury duty this week. It soaked up a whole day in which I was supposed to be playing, and then made me have to work harder at work on the other days because I missed the day of work. So I do have some time now, and we're just going to get right into the games and hope for the best. I have a feeling this is a good deck, but you and I are going to find out together. So away we go. Elesh Norn calls for the rally-o. Elesh Norn primed for the tally-ho. She has come to save this land. Elesh and Dale work hand in hand.